Okay, Cuyahoga County Public Works Procurement and Contracting Committee meeting for Wednesday, September 21st, 2022 will be called to order. Roll call, please.
And just as a reminder to all who are in attendance, this meeting is being recorded and live streamed on the county's YouTube page. Calling the roll, Mr. Tuma.
Here.
Mr. Miller.
Here.
Ms. Conwell. Ms. Conwell is absent. Mr. Sweeney.
Present.
Ms. Turner. Ms. Turner is absent at the moment. There is a quorum.
All right, thank you. And is there any public comment this morning?
No, Mr. Chair, no one is signed in.
Okay, and could I have approval of minutes from the July 27th, 2022 meeting?
I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. And Madam Clerk, if you could please read the first matter referred to committee this morning.
Resolution number 2022-0197, awarding a total sum not to exceed $150,000 to the Village of Highland Hills for the Government Center Elevator Replacement Project from the District 9 Arbor Community Grant Fund.
Okay, and who do we have to speak on behalf of this legislation this morning?
Mayor is coming up, Councilman.
Okay, and if you could just please state your name for the record.
Good morning, Mayor Michael Booker.
All right, Mayor, thanks for being here this morning. And if you just want to kind of explain the crux of this legislation, or if you have a presentation or what have you.
The Village of Highland Hills Government Headquarters is in a 96-year-old building with its original elevators. We have seniors that live in the building along with our council chambers being on the lower level, office spaces being on the lower level, meeting rooms as well on the lower level. The elevators have both went down. We paid about $30,000 to get one of them back up and running. We've estimated the cost of over $200,000 to get $200,000 each to get both elevators up and running and up to code. Because they're so old, they're outdated as far as state regulations are concerned. So that's been our struggle. We've met with engineers, we've met with 3 elevator companies, and all the estimates coming in about the same.
Okay. So if the estimates are $200,000, do you have plans to supplement the 150 ARPA funding?
Yes, we do.
Okay. And when do you anticipate the timeline for this?
ASAP, as soon as possible.
Okay.
We didn't know, we had to go out and find an electrical engineer before the project could start.
Right.
We've done that. That's another $40,000. And we've done all the work. We have all the legwork done. We just, we're waiting to get the best bid possible.
Okay. Any questions from my colleagues?
I just want to thank the mayor for his continued service and keep up the good work, and the city council's glad we could help.
Thank you.
if
I
it goes
appreciate
through.
that.
Okay. Thank you for your comments. Any other questions? Okay, seeing none. Then do I have a motion? Obviously, if this is request prompt, looking at suspension of the rules is your request on this?
Yes, sir.
Or is this
3 readings.
3 readings? We've been doing 3 readings on these ARPA fundings. So this, we'll move this along. Do I have a motion?
I have just one point,
Yeah.
just one reference
Yeah.
to the chair. The whole council votes on this, but your Councilwoman Meredith Turner, I just want to share that this has been something that she was advocating for since she got here and these dollars became available. I'm just giving her a little shout out, but stressing that the entire council will be making this decision.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Right, and the way we've been doing it with the ARPA funding is we have been doing 3 readings so that there's a full public discourse on the funding that we're distributing or allocating. So do I have a motion in?
So moved.
So we have a motion. Do I have a second?
Dale, second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to move this on to second reading. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, and this will move forward.
Thank you,
All
sir.
right, thank you very much, Mayor. Madam Clerk, if you could, the second piece of legislation.
Resolution number 2022-0268, authorizing the Department of Public Works to utilize a total sum not to exceed $787,748 for the purpose of rebuilding Garfield Boulevard and constructing a connecting trail in the city of Garfield Heights from the District 8 Arbor Community Grant Fund.
Okay, and who do we have to speak on behalf of this piece of legislation? Again, if you could just state your name for the record.
Good morning. My name's Dave Ray. I'm the Cuyahoga County Engineer.
All right, and Dave, what is this regarding?
This is a project being requested by County Planning Commission, Metro Parks, and Garfield Heights. That the project that was initially approved, it will basically update the rebuilding of Garfield Boulevard and constructing a connecting trail in the city of Garfield Heights. The Garfield Heights estimates total cost of the project at $4.9 million. And basically what this will do is enhance the project to a complete streets project and provide a connection path from the towpath to the Garfield Reservation.
Okay. Questions from my colleagues on this? Okay, it seems pretty straightforward. And I assume the city of Garfield Heights is on board with this?
They are, sir, and they're present here.
Okay. Do they have anything to add, or anybody? You guys came all the way down here, right? And we recognize the councilwoman has joined us.
I'm Council President Tom Vaughn from City of Garfield Heights. First of all, I'd like to thank you guys for giving us this opportunity. We are trying to redevelop and bring Garfield Heights into the 21st century. And we're seeing a real need to connect this park with the other parks in our area. And this would really help us, give us a nice bike trail, and help with the redevelopment of Garfield Boulevard. I don't know if anybody of you are familiar with it, but underneath Garfield Boulevard are still trolley tracks. It used to be a major trolley connection there. And this would just really bring the bike trails, the parks, everything together. And we're hoping that you will help us with this project. I have Janice Tubbs from our Economic Development Office. I'd allow her a minute or so to speak. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
Good morning. I'd also like to add that in connecting this, it's all about connectivity as well. And this will connect Garfield Boulevard, our Metro Park, to the towpath, which we know is connecting Cuyahoga County, Summit County, Stark County, and Tuscarawas County. This will also add incentive to reinvest in our city and the region. And we're asking for you not only to support this grant, but to support our vision for the city. The same type of vision that changed the flats, the same type of vision that has building going on in University Circle. That's what we're asking you to support. And we thank you for your time and your consideration.
All right, thank you. Yeah, these are quality of life issues impacting your residents and our residents in Cuyahoga County. So, sounds like a very worthwhile project. Mr. Miller, you have something to add?
As I recall, you said the total project cost is in excess of $4 million. Can you give us some idea of where the remaining funding is going to come from?
That remaining funding is coming from our partners with the Cleveland Metro Parks, as well as Cuyahoga County Planning, as well as Procurement. And our portion of the project is the ask that we're asking for.
And how much is the Metro Parks contributing?
I couldn't tell you their exact portion. We can forward that information to you.
Yeah, if you could forward the
Absolutely.
information,
Thank
that'd be
you.
good. Yeah. Any other questions or comments? Okay, seeing none. Do I have a motion to move this along to second reading? Second, we have a motion and a second to move this on to R 2022-0268 on for second reading. Do I have,
Second.
all in favor? Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
Thank you again for your time and consideration.
Thank you. And again, moving along, these readings will move before the entire council for a vote. Thank you. Madam Clerk, next ordinance here.
Resolution number 2022-0269, authorizing the Department of Public Works to utilize a total sum not to exceed $250,000 for the purpose of the Grant Avenue Pavement Repair and Resurfacing Project in the Village of Cuyahoga Heights from the District 8 Arbor Community Grant Fund.
Okay, and again, if you could just state your name for the record.
Yes, Dave Ray.
Okay, and then regarding this piece of legislation,
Yes, this was originally approved part of NOACA 2124 TIP with federal aid for resurfacing. This is a 2024 project, and Cuyahoga Heights is asking for basically the city share of this project to be covered. It's an estimated total cost of $2.2 million.
Okay. And when is this scheduled to move forward?
Would be 2024.
Oh, I'm sorry, you did say that, 2024. Okay. And how much surface area is this covering, or what sections of this Grant Avenue? I think you have some, phone a friend here.
You got it, Tom?
Good morning, members of the committee. Tom Sotak. Project limits are from East 49th Street to East 71st Street in Cuyahoga Heights.
All right, thank you. Any questions from my colleagues? No? Okay. Seeing none, do I have a motion to move this on to second reading? Okay, do I have a second? We have a motion and a second to move R 2022-0269 on for second reading. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. All right, thank you. Madam Clerk, if you could, the next piece of legislation.
Resolution number 2022-0272, awarding a total sum not to exceed $140,000 to the City of Maple Heights for the installation of an emergency generator at the Maple Heights Senior Center from the District 8 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
Okay, and if you could just state your name for the record.
Marinette Blackwell, Maple Heights.
Okay, and just a little bit about this legislation, what you're seeking here.
We actually are here today to represent Resolution 22, 72, 73, 74, and 75.
Okay.
At this time, I do have with me our city engineer, Mr. Ed Wren at Chagrin Valley Engineering.
Okay.
And we have submitted a PowerPoint presentation.
Okay, let's hear from the gentleman and the presentation. If you guys know how to do the presentation, how to,
The clicker up there, you can click.
there's like a, yeah.
Yeah, we'll display the PowerPoint.
The clicker?
You push the green button.
There you go. It's all yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
So the first piece of legislation, 2022-0272, is for the Maple Heights Senior Center Emergency Generator Project.
And just for the record, we do have to take I understand you're here for all these, but we do have to go through the procedure for each one of those, just so you know.
Okay, so
have to do the
I'll address
reading
that one.
Yeah. But we'll start with this one.
So the Maple Heights Senior Center has been identified by our fire chief as the most suitable building to provide a cooling and warming center for our citizens during times of either infrastructure failure or some type of natural disaster. The drawback to the building right now is that it currently does not have any type of emergency backup power. We are requesting $140,000 so that we can begin the plan preparation and order the generator. The estimated delivery time on those generators is over a year now, so we would utilize these funds again to spec it, purchase it, and then we would use either general fund dollars, or we had planned on submitting a community development block grant application to actually install the generator once it's delivered.
How big is this generator?
I don't have, it would be sufficient to cool the entire building. So, we have 2 rooftop units on it. Plus, we also have a elevator in there. So it's, I got to believe it's got to be in the 160 kW range.
KW is?
Kilowatts.
Kilowatts, okay.
I believe. I'm not an electrical engineer. We have a consultant for that, but again, it would be sufficient. It would put out the 3-phase power that's required to power the generators and the elevators if there's a power failure.
And the good news is I thought it was kilowatt, so that's okay.
Thank you.
Any questions from my colleagues?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, obviously, there's a very important thing to be able to have this safe space for your residents. And again, these are the types of things that we're seeing these ARPA funding going for useful projects like this. So I'll make do I have a motion for second reading on 2022-0272?
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Now, our 2022-0272 will move along on second reading. Madam Clerk, if you could just read the next ordinance.
Resolution number 2022-0273, awarding a total sum not to exceed $480,000 to the City of Maple Heights for the Fire Station Number 1 roof repair project.
Okay, and if you could just state your name for the record.
My name is Ed Wren. I'm the Maple Heights City Engineer.
Okay, and then regarding this piece of legislation?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This project is the Fire Station Number 1 roof repair project in the city of Maple Heights. The existing fire station has a built-up roof system that was installed in the early 2000s. We've had problems over the last several years with persistent leaks. These have resulted in damage to the fire equipment. We've had some issues with mold in some of the locker rooms. And we had a roof study done this summer, which identified the deficiencies in the current roof. The consultant recommended the total replacement for the roof. We are requesting $480,000, which would cover the cost of engineering, construction, and project administration to replace the entire roof on Fire Station Number 1 in the city of Maple Heights.
Okay. What is the total cost on that again, if you could?
$480,000.
Oh, that'll cover the entire cost?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Questions from my colleagues? Seems pretty straightforward. Do I have a motion to move this on for second reading?
So moved.
I have a second. We have a motion and a second to move R 2022-0273 on for second reading. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. And Madam Clerk, if you could, the next piece of legislation.
Resolution number 2022-0274, awarding a total sum not to exceed $80,000 to the City of Maple Heights for the Fire Station Number 2 roof repair project.
Okay, and again, if you could just state your name for the record.
My name is Ed Wren. I'm the city engineer for the city of Maple Heights.
Okay, and then regarding 2022-0274.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This project is for the repairs to the roof on Fire Station Number 2 in the city of Maple Heights. We are requesting $80,000 to make repairs to the current roof, which is in mostly good condition, but there were areas that were identified by the roof consultant when we had the roof on Fire Station Number 1 inspected. We took that opportunity to also have the Fire Station Number 2 roof inspected. This is a newer roof that was installed in the early 2010 era. It was, it's a ethylene propylene roofing membrane, which is slightly different than the built-up roof system. It does have a propensity to puncture, which leads to leaks. The consultant did identify some areas that were punctured that will have to be replaced or repaired. This is not a roof replacement. This is just a repair of existing deficiencies on the roof on Fire Station Number 2, and we are requesting $80,000 for that work.
Okay, and how many fire stations do you have?
2.
Oh, so this covers both of them.
This,
okay.
correct.
All right. These are funds that would not otherwise be available to do this sort of stuff, correct?
That is correct, yes.
Okay, questions?
Yes. Is $80,000 the total project cost?
Yes, yes, sir.
Any other questions? Okay, seeing none. I'll make a motion to move R 2022-0274 on for second reading. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. We'll move that on for second reading. Madam Clerk, if you could read this last piece of companion legislation here.
Resolution number 2022-0275, awarding a total sum not to exceed $50,000 to the City of Maple Heights for the Police Department Locker Room Expansion Project.
Okay, and again, I think I know your name, but I think we have to continue to do this. So.
My name is Ed Wren. I'm the city engineer for the city of Maple Heights.
Okay. And regarding 2022-0275,
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This request for funding is for the Police Department Locker Room Expansion Project. The City of Maple Heights has a police station that at one time included a detention facility. The detention facility has been vacant since approximately 2010. These funds will be used to repurpose that space, primarily to be used for officers' locker room and shower space. It will also be used as a city regional command post if the need should arise. We are requesting $50,000 for this work, and that will actually cover just the cost of construction. We do have plans that have been already filed with our building department and approved, so this would allow this work to be completed.
okay, where are the police officers currently? Are they in a different?
There is a smaller locker room, so what we would do is we would use this new locker room area, and the old locker room area would be converted into office space.
Okay, questions?
Yeah, just curious. The female locker rooms, do you currently have female locker rooms or are?
So
Are you
the police, from what I understand from the police chief, is we have a locker area for the female officers, but there is not a separate shower facility. This project would provide that separate locker room and shower facility for the female officers.
Any follow-up? Or?
Thank you.
Okay. With that, any other questions? Seeing none, well, I'll make a motion to move our 2022-0275 on for second reading. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. All right, thank you, Mr. Wren.
Thank you very much.
Ms. Carter, if you could read the next piece of legislation.
Resolution number 2022-0279, awarding a total sum not to exceed $120,755 to the Village of Bratnal for the Eddy Road Rehabilitation Project from the District 10 Arbor Community Grant Fund.
Okay, and we have someone to speak on behalf of our 2022-0279.
Good morning. Good morning, council members, Mr. Chair. Thank you for your consideration. We do have two projects. I know we'll take them sequentially. The first one, the details will be given by Don Barut, our village engineer, and the second, we have our police chief as well. I know monies are hard to come by, but the fact you're considering Bratnal to receive these funds is much appreciated, and I'll turn it over to the expert.
And just real quick, just for the record, so we have it on the record, your name for the record.
Also, John LaCastro, the mayor in Bratnal.
All right, thank you, Mr.
Thank
Mayor.
you, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Don Barut. I'm the village engineer for the village of Bratnal. We have some slides, I hope, I think. As you probably all know, Bratnal is located east of Cleveland, between Cleveland and Euclid. Eddy Road is a connector off the shoreway. There's ramps coming off the shoreway that access Lakeshore Boulevard. Eddy Road was last done in 2005. And as you can see, it's in deteriorated condition, which leads to our request from the committee this morning. It's about $123,000. That's going to be used to complement funding we're hopefully receiving from the county on a 50-50 program, and the village will be supplementing that with their funds out of the general fund to complete the $263,000 total construction cost.
Okay. And when do you anticipate a start date and a finish date?
Start date would be early spring of next year, and completion date about 3 months after that.
Okay, about 3 months. Are there going to be any road closures as a result?
There will be.
Other than any road?
Yeah, traffic will be maintained. No
Will be
road
maintained.
closures,
Okay,
yes.
okay, so not a permanent number. Questions from my colleagues? Seems, again, pretty straightforward. With that, I'll make a motion to move this on for full reading or second reading here. R 2022-0279. Do I have a motion for second reading?
Second.
We have a motion and a second for second reading. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. We'll move R 2022-0279 for second reading. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Madam Clerk, if you could, next resolution.
Resolution number 2022-0280, a resolution, and the District 10 Arbor Community Grant Fund awarding a total sum not to exceed $123,235.54 to the Village of Bratnal for the purpose of purchasing 2 new police vehicles.
Okay, and if you could just state your name for the record.
I'm Chuck Lobello, the Chief of Police in the Village of Bratnal.
All right, Chief. If you just want to explain the purpose of this legislation here, what you're seeking.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the opportunity to speak here. This money that we're requesting will allow us to purchase 2 police vehicles. Normally, we purchase 1 per year. And with everybody feeling the financial crunch that we have these days, this will allow us to free up general fund monies for the village to use on other projects. And it will allow us not only to get one for the year of 2022, but also 2023, freeing up more of our budget for next year as well.
Okay. Questions for the officer? Chief, any questions? Okay. With that, I mean, again, safety is so of utmost importance for all our communities, and, the village is no exception. So to be able to do this, with these one-time funds is, something that's very beneficial for all of our residents there. So, and all of us, because we all benefit from the safety forces. So with that, I'll make a motion to move R 2022-0280 on for second reading. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to move 2022-0280 for second reading. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. And the ayes have it. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Okay.
See you, Mayor.
Madam Clerk, next resolution, please.
Resolution number 2022-0289, awarding a total sum not to exceed $12,000 to the Cuyahoga County Land Reutilization Corporation for demolition of the cottage on Greenwood Farm Community Park in the city of Richmond Heights from the District 11 Arbor Community Grant Fund.
Okay, and if you could just state your name for the record.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. My name is Brian Gleiser. I'm Director of Economic Development for the City of Richmond Heights. And this resolution requests funds to demolish a caretaker cottage, which is located on the Greenwood Farm Community Park. The park fronts on Richmond Road, just north of the county airport. The front part of the park contains the farmhouse and an original barn. So that's the real historic pieces to this. All the way in the back of the park is a caretaker's cottage, which has now fallen into a state of deterioration. It's a safety hazard. And for example, last Saturday, we had a very large festival. Hundreds of people attended. So we need to remove this caretaker cottage, 1, to eliminate the safety hazard, 2, to allow us to continue to beautify the community park. Okay. And we are working with the County Land Bank on this project.
All right, excellent. Questions or comments? Okay, seeing none. We obviously want to eliminate any safety hazards, and the rest of the facility seems like it's very beneficial to the community, and so you want to continue to beautify that area. And having a partner in the land bank is a very good thing. So with that, I'll make a motion for second reading. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for second reading on R 2022-0289. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. All right. And Madam Clerk, if you could please read the next resolution.
Resolution number 2022-0290, awarding a total sum not to exceed $12,000 to the Cuyahoga County Land Reutilization Corporation for demolition of 422 Richmond Road in the city of Richmond Heights.
Okay, and again, if you could just state your name for the record and the purpose of this legislation here.
Good morning again. My name is Brian Gleiser. I am a Director of Economic Development for the City of Richmond Heights. This resolution is for funding to demolish a single-family house that is owned by the City of Richmond Heights. It is on Richmond Road. It's on a parcel of about 4.2 acres. Adjacent to this parcel is another city-owned parcel of about 4.8 acres. So with the demolition of this house, and this house has been vacant for quite a number of years, it's used as storage by the city. It's in quite a state of deterioration. In fact, on the back side, there's a tree leaning against the house. With the demolition of this house, it would then create about a 9-acre development site just south of the county-owned land, which is south of the airport. This is on the west side of Richmond Road. And again, there is a safety hazard piece to this, though this is not accessed by the public, or shouldn't be anyway.
Okay. Questions or comments?
And again, we are working with the County Land Bank.
Okay. Any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, again, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. I'll make a motion to move R 2022-0290 for second reading. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and we'll move along to the next resolution as our council president joins us.
Resolution number 2022-0291, awarding a total sum not to exceed $100,000 to the City of Richmond Heights for the purpose of installing an emergency generator at Richmond Heights City Hall from the District 11 Arbor Community Grant Fund.
Okay, and if you could just, again, state your name for the record.
And my name is Brian Gleiser. I'm Director of Economic Development for Richmond Heights. This resolution is to fund the installation of an emergency generator at City Hall. City Hall is the center of our computers, media notification, communications, databases, and HVAC. We do not have an emergency generator at City Hall, so when the power goes out, City Hall closes. And of course, as you can imagine, this is really not acceptable. So we've received the quote for $100,000. If the actual cost comes in above the $100,000, the city will cover that remaining, because as we're all aware, you get a quote, it's good for about 2 or 3 weeks these days. This is a critical piece to maintaining safety services in the city of Richmond Heights.
Okay, questions or comments on this piece of legislation? Seeing none, you know, having a backup generator in City Hall needs to be open for its constituents, you know, on a consistent and regular basis. And if they're just, you know, having a storm wipe everything out, that I can imagine the havoc it creates for residents. So we'll move I'll make a motion for moving this along to second reading for R 2022-0291. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. And Madam Clerk, if you could, thank you very much. If you could read the next resolution.
Resolution number 2022-0292, awarding a total sum not to exceed $230,000 to the City of Richmond Heights for the replacement of the Richmond Heights Division of Fire ambulance.
Okay, and if you could just state your name for the record.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. My name is Mark Newman. I'm the fire chief in the city of Richmond Heights.
All right, Chief, thanks for being here. If you could just explain the purpose of this legislation here and your ask.
Absolutely. Thank you for the consideration. This is for a new ambulance in the city of Richmond Heights. It would maintain availability of advanced life support and replace aging infrastructure. The Richmond Heights Division of Fire currently has 2 frontline ambulances. Both are Ford F-450 4x4 Lifeline ambulances. One's a model year 2014. The other's a 2017. The current ambulances are aging and prone to mechanical breakdowns and repairs. The ambulance would be purchased via a group purchasing contract such as Sourcewell or Ohio for a cost not to exceed $230,000. The need for Division of Fire is that Division of Fire experiences overlapping calls approximately 21.6% of the time. That is when our firefighters are committed to one EMS call, a second or even a third medical event occurs in the city. And as of August 31st this year, there have been 1,271 EMS calls with 368 simultaneous calls. The situation presents a risk to the community when one or both ambulances are out of service for maintenance. Division of Fire has borrowed a reserve ambulance from neighboring fire departments and university hospitals during times when both ambulances were out of service for maintenance. We currently are in one university hospital ambulance now because we have one that's down. And we would appreciate the consideration for this project.
All right, thank you very much. I mean, it sounds like there's certainly a safety need for something like this. I mean, if there's 368 instances where you don't have that second ambulance, and if that's your family, you know, that's a problem. So any questions or comments?
I have a comment.
Okay.
So, good morning. I received a text message from Mayor Thomas. She sends her regrets. She said that she would have preferred to have been present for such important requests that are in front of us today, but she did mention that her chiefs would be here, as they are. She asked that I bring a personal greeting to the chair, as well as Councilman Miller, and she did ask for our consideration for these very important issues, especially the home demolition and for safety reasons.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman. And we appreciate the mayor sending us that message. And her the good news is her chiefs are here, so that's good to know. But we appreciate that, and if she take the time to do that, we understand how important it is, and I'm sure she would be here if she could. So we appreciate that. Any other questions or comments then? Seeing none, I'll make a motion to move our 2022-0292 on for second reading. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Thank you, Chief. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, Madam Clerk, if you could, next resolution.
Resolution number 2022-0293, awarding a total sum not to exceed $400,000 to the City of South Euclid for the South Belvoir Boulevard Resurfacing Project.
Okay, and if you could just state your name for the record.
Good morning. My name is Keith Benjamin, Director of Community Development for the City of South Euclid.
All right, Mr. Benjamin, if you want to explain this legislation.
Sure. I'm recovering from my COVID booster yesterday, so I'm a little out of under the weather, so excuse me if my voice goes. The proposed project provides for the rehabilitation and resurfacing of South Belvoir, which is a county road, number 284, from Mayfield Road to Bluestone in the city. South Belvoir Boulevard is in horrible condition. I don't know if you've traversed it recently. It was last constructed or resurfaced in 1996. It's a 4-lane highway with a large grass median in a residential district. It's an important north-south access in the city, providing linkages between the community and the cultural commercial districts located on the east and west roads of the project termini. The residents of the adjoining communities of University Heights, Cleveland Heights, and Cleveland will be primary beneficiaries of this project, along with the 21,000 drivers that travel the roadway on a daily basis. In terms of technical specs, the asphalt wearing surface is severely degraded in many areas with many heave joints. It was again reconstructed in 1996. The NOACA 2021 to 2014 TIP Target Plan project gave this roadway a PCR, pavement condition rating, of 53, which is indicative of the poor condition of the wearing surface. As part of this proposed project, pedestrian accessibility and safety will also be enhanced with the provision of ADA compliant curb ramps and crosswalks at all intersections, traffic control pavement markings, and signage will also be replaced. This project, we estimate the total cost for the project to be about $1.2 million to $1.3 million. Through our bonding authority, the city earlier this year issued $600,000 in notes to fund our share of this project. And additionally, we have secured another $250,000 through the Cuyahoga County 50/50 road program, which I believe is next on the agenda. We are requesting a $400,000 allocation from Cuyahoga County's ARPA fund to assist with the rehabilitation of this county-owned roadway.
All right, thank you very much for that detailed explanation. What is the, you might have said this, but what is the hopeful start date?
Hopeful start date, we would go out to bid this winter. We actually went out to bid a couple months ago, and with the costs of everything, it was way more than what our engineers' estimates were. So we hope to be able to bid this out again this winter and begin construction in the spring.
Yeah, we've seen the costs on construction go up exponentially and continue to go up. So, and then you mentioned that PCR of 53. What's the scale there as far as good and bad?
100,
100.
yeah.
Okay.
In some sections, it's a lot worse than 53. That's just the overall roadway, and it's over a mile.
And having only been resurfaced in 1996, that was last time?
Correct.
Wow. Okay, questions or comments? I think so too. I'll make a motion to move this on for second reading, R 2022-0293. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, if you could please read the next resolution.
Resolution number 2022-0298, declaring that public convenience and welfare requires the resurfacing of various roadways in various municipalities in connection with the 2023-2024 50/50 resurfacing program.
Okay, and if you could please state your name for the record.
Keith Benjamin, Community Development Director, here on behalf of Mayor Wheeler.
Okay. And again, if you want to go through this legislation here and explain.
So this is the allocation from our application for county 50/50 road fund programs. And so we had requested $250,000 from Cuyahoga County Department of Public Works for this project. And again, this will go towards the South Belvoir Boulevard reconstruction project.
Okay. I was going to say, do we have, yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Because I see Mayfield. Yeah, I don't expect them to do every community, so, no. Yes.
That'd be great. Thank you.
All right, appreciate it.
I was looking for
Thanks,
somebody like you.
No, that's okay. That's okay. There's lots of, I see there's lots of
Here to help.
you want me to
communities
stay?
on here. Yes.
It's whatever you like.
All
Well,
right,
you
thank
tell
very
her I
much.
said hello too.
Send regards from all.
Okay.
Hello again, Dave Ray, Cuyahoga County Engineer. I just want to give overall on the 50/50 program, there were, as you can see, 22 different projects that were selected. What this program does, it pays 50% of the project costs up to $250,000 per project. That's what we are requesting with this list. We do this every 2 years. That's why there's a large number of projects. This is 2 years' worth of programs. The cities actually request this for 2023 or 2024, but they can do the projects in either year that works out best for the city. The budget is $2.5 million per year for the 50/50 program. The solicitation for this went out to all of the city's mayors, the city engineers, and the service directors. The applications were due back early in April. Just as a point of clarification, the cities actually design, they construct, and then they inspect the projects on this program. There is scoring criteria for each of this. As I mentioned, there were 22 cities that were awarded, but there were also 23 that did not get a project. And we would ask for a second reading suspension so that the cities can get to this as quick as possible and get the project sold.
So for those cities that didn't get selected, what was the criteria as to the difference between being selected and not selected?
I can go through what the scoring criteria is, but what they do is they pick the top ones for the amount is my understanding.
So real briefly, could you just give us, in less than 2 minutes, a brief overview as to how they're scored, or some of the top, some of the things that make the ratings?
Absolutely. The scoring is a total of 110 points, and it's broken down with average daily traffic, the pavement condition rating, the PCR,
the infrastructure age of the project, the economic health of the community, the equity zone, and what previous awards might have been given.
Okay. And then how is the program publicized? I mean, how do you guys get that out to the municipalities?
They, all of the municipalities are sent this information, and we like to make sure we cover, like I mentioned, the mayors, the city engineers, and the service directors, just so that everyone is aware that
Okay, and then
this is available.
who actually does the physical work? Is it the municipalities themselves or the county or?
The work on a project is actually done by the cities themselves.
By the city themselves, okay. And then you said the time frame is 2023 and 24?
That is correct,
Right.
and the cities can choose which year they want to do the projects.
Okay, questions? Mr. Sweeney?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for presenting today. When you listed the criteria, I wouldn't mind understanding the weight of each one. In the future, you can send me how it's scored. And of the 20, I don't see any from District 3, so I'm going to be a little territorial here. Did any from District 3 apply? And if they did, what were their shortcomings so we can work to improve it? And if District 3 only has Brooklyn and the 4 wards in the city of Cleveland, is the city of Cleveland eligible to participate in this in regards to roads?
I will have to find out that for you, but I can also definitely send you anything in District 3 that was applied for that might not have met the
Yeah,
scoring.
I just want-
And I can break down the scoring.
Yeah, I want to focus on it
categories.
because if they're short on some of the scoring, I want to shore it up. If they don't know about it, I want to get them in the mix. And I'm going to advocate very strongly for the 4 wards in the city of Cleveland. Since it's Cuyahoga County, I don't want to eliminate the city of Cleveland because we're part of Cuyahoga County. So that's my comments, and I look forward to working with you on each one of those. Thank you, Mr.
Sure, I
Chairman.
appreciate that, and I notice there's nothing from District 4 either, so you're not alone. Yeah.
And I'm with the chairman on this one.
Okay.
Chairman?
Yes, who, Mr. Miller?
There is one from District 2, so I'd like to have my name added.
Oh, let's rub it in.
Okay. We'll add Councilman Miller's name.
One out of
Mr.
how
Please
many?
add my
Mr.
name.
as well.
Yes,
It's
thank
a
you.
modest,
Thank you.
it's a modest amount.
Modest.
District 9,
I'll take
thank you.
modest. I'll take anything.
We'll send the information to all of you.
Okay, appreciate it. Any other questions or comments?
And just on this one, because this is something I want to stay focused on a little bit. Send it to me is one thing, but let's get a hold of each other so we can sit down and chat briefly so I can take the time to focus on it. Because sometimes different pieces of paper come in and I don't always prioritize it, so I want to make sure this one gets understood by me at the depth that I want to understand it.
Yes, sir, not a problem.
All right, thank you. With that, I'll make a motion to move this on, and you're, obviously you want to get moving on these road projects as soon as possible. So I'll make a motion to move R 2022-0298 on for second reading suspension. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second for second reading suspension on R 2022-0298. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. All right, thank you. Madam Clerk, the next piece of legislation.
Resolution number 2022-0299, authorizing an amendment to contract number 712 with Poly Incorporated for lease of space at the Westside Regional Probation Office located at 5361 Pearl Road, Parma, by the Cuyahoga County Juvenile Court Probation Services Division as a satellite operations office.
Okay, is there someone to speak on behalf of this piece of legislation? Anybody? Is there someone here to speak on behalf, or?
It should be the Department of Public Works.
Mr. Chair, I apologize. I believe Mr. Myers' real estate manager was coming down for this one, but
I know John Myers was here 2 seconds ago. Perhaps we can just move on with the next item and we'll get John here, because I know he was just here 2 seconds ago.
I thought I saw him too. Okay, we'll hold this item and move on to the next piece of legislation then. Madam Clerk, if you could just read the next one into the record.
Resolution number 2022-0300, making an award on requisition number 9555 to R.L. Hill Management Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $3,974,592 for the Cuyahoga County Men's Shelter Expansion Project.
Okay, and if you could just state your name for the record.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Matt Reimer. I'm the Facilities Design and Maintenance Administrator for County Department of Public Works. I do have a very short slideshow just to support this legislation and contract award request.
Okay.
As that's coming up, I will say that we were before you last year with the Department of Health and Human Services, specifically for the acquisition of this property, which we did purchase and close on in December of 2021. This property is immediately adjacent to the 2100 men's shelter that is owned by Cuyahoga County and operated by Lutheran Metropolitan Industries. And is that, thank you, Janine. Okay. I'll refer to the, so what you see here is just the overflight of, in green shaded is the current men's shelter operated by Cuyahoga County Department of Homeless Services and Lutheran Metropolitan Ministries. That's 2100 Lakeside. Immediately adjacent in the blue is the purchased property, 2020 Lakeside. And this was purchased because of its immediate adjacency to the men's shelter, and this is the corresponding renovation project for that acquisition that we presented to you last year. Specifically, we designed this through our design consultant team with Robert P. Madison Incorporated and their sub-consultant teams. We went out to bid on a request for bid, formal bid, in April of this year, and it closed in June. What this project is going to do is renovate this open bay facility into a 100-bed homeless shelter expansion to augment the men's shelter facility currently next door. We're going to be obviously addressing all of the major systems within the building, some of the building envelope, partial roof repairs, some building envelope repairs. And then the picture that you see on the slideshow is the model of how we'll be proceeding with two-bunk semi-private sleeping areas. We'll also have functionality for a new central intake area. Right now, the current intake area on the 2100 Lakeside goes up a set of stairs and a lift. This will provide it on a single level to improve our accessibility into the shelter. We're also connecting the 2020 building with, you can see the floor plans. Let me get to the connection. We're also providing a connection of the two buildings and a much improved fire egress ramp for accessible egress out of the facility as well. So we're excited for this project. From a bid perspective, as I mentioned, it closed in April. We received 2 bids. R.L. Hill Management was determined to be the lowest and best from the county's perspective. Specifically, they were the low to the second bidder by $321,408 lower, which was 8% of the bid value. They were compliant from purchasing. Both bidders were non-compliant from their initial diversity submissions. We worked with them post bid receipt, and we do estimate that they'll be able to achieve the diversity goals on this. Specifically, this contractor is an MBE prime contractor, so they will meet the MBE, and we estimate that they'll also be able to achieve the the WBE and SBE goals that were set. Happy to answer any questions on this.
All right, thank you. What is the construction schedule?
We have contractually a 6-month construction period from notice to proceed. So I would request on behalf of the department a second reading suspension consideration on this so we can get going as soon as possible, Mr. Chair. Okay. So if we do that, then we would be giving notice to proceed in early October. So 6 months from that date, we would anticipate completion of the project.
Okay, and then what's the plan during construction? Is it going to be done in phases, or is this going to be a one shot through?
This will be one shot through since it's currently unoccupied, and it won't impact current shelter operations.
And if you could just explain, you mentioned it's adjacent. Is this building going to be attached?
It will be attached when we're complete with the project. It is currently not attached. It has a shared courtyard. Let me, actually, that's okay. It's not.
Well, is it going to be attached physically through like the building itself, or through a bridge, or?
There will be a connector corridor that is a little bit up off the ground because there's 2 different elevations on both buildings.
All right, questions from my colleagues? Mr. Miller.
So what's going to be the capacity of the additional facility? I heard 60 in one place and 100 in another. So.
That's correct. Through the chair, your numbers are correct. 60 is the planned operational use of the facility, but we have bunk capacity and we have fixture counts from a design and architectural perspective to surge to 100 if there's a surge need available. But there will be an operational normal use of 60 beds, correct, sir?
And what's the current capacity of the existing building?
Lutheran Metropolitan Ministries can operate, I believe it's 365 maximum in the 2100 facility. What this project will allow them to do is straying a little bit out of my area with Health and Human Services, but they only have so many beds that they can allocate. They can't just continue to increase beds where it affects certain funding in their continuum of care. But they do have overflow shelter capacity, Lutheran Metropolitan does, but this will allow on-site overflow capacity, and it'll allow them to do more within 2100 to provide semi-private versus highly congregate and close quarters emergency shelter living.
So
it'll allow them to spread out.
Does this mean that in the event of a surge that you could go up as high as 465, that would be 365 in the main building and 100 in the new building?
I would agree with that assumption, Councilman. I will say, though, that LMM does have plans in 2100 to modify their configuration so that they can provide a little bit more of a semi-private environment versus just a room full of bunks. So I'll defer to if that number changes on the 365 end, but yes, your line of questioning is correct.
And how did the winning bid price of $3.974 million compare with the engineer's estimate?
It came in below the engineer's estimate, which by addendum was 4.1, a little over 4.1 million. So it was under by almost $200,000.
That's encouraging in this environment.
It is. I do expect that we'll have challenges as we get into the award, as we've had with all of our construction efforts. But yes, it was encouraging.
Okay, thank you.
Councilwoman, you had some questions?
Yeah, I just had a comment. I'm just really excited about this project as we continue to explore how we take care of the most vulnerable in our society. I spent a lot of time in this facility volunteering, as well as the women's shelter over on Payne. And just looking at the designs, this is hopeful that we can provide care for those in our society who need it in a very humane and safe way. So thank you.
All right, thank you for your comments. Yeah, I mean, that's, one of the many aspirations, not only aspirations, but duties we have as a county. So, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I have one more question, if I may.
Mr. Miller.
My question is the work to be done primarily interior, and as such, will winter weather not be a problem, and you can just continue through the winter and finish it in March or April if we approve it now?
Through the chair to the councilman, you are correct. We'll be able to proceed at the pace of receipt of materials without interruption. We won't have to interrupt existing shelter operations, and the building is currently only occupied by a caretaker staff of Public Works, so we'll be able to proceed through the winter months without interruption.
Thank you.
Okay, all right, thank you. If there's no other questions or comments, I'll make a motion to move this on R 2022-0300 to second reading suspension. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Reimer. Madam Clerk, looks like we do have representatives here on behalf of 2022-0299 now, if you want to read that into the record.
Resolution number 2022-0299, authorizing an amendment to contract number 712 with Poly Incorporated for for lease of space at the Westside Regional Probation Office located at 5361 Pearl Road, Parma, by the Cuyahoga County Juvenile Court Probation Services Division as a satellite operations office.
Okay, and if you could just state your name for the record.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Committee. John Myers on behalf of the Department of Public Works. My apology, I thought there was 20 items in front of me here before I ran back to the office.
It was 30, but no,
Yeah.
yes.
Who's counting? Right?
Who's counting?
I'm here today to seek your approval for a lease, an amendment for a spot for our juvenile court Southwest Probation Office. We've been at this location for quite some time, and we're seeking an extension of additional 5 years for this 5,500 square feet of space located at 5361 Pearl Road in Parma. This provides the court with opportunity to have their probation officers out in the field amongst other satellite locations to have better compliance with probation and follow through with those children who come before juvenile court. This is seeking $274,500 for the 5-year term. We do have an early termination exit option, and this is approximately $4,500 per month.
Okay. I see, so it's a 5-year term. Is that standard for this type of contract for probation?
Yes, we, Mr. Chairman, many of our leases have a standard 5-year. There's not a requirement or anything. We just have found that to be an appropriate term to maximize any investment we've made in the site for its use and to be frequent enough to give us a chance to revisit whether we want to stay there or look for something new.
Okay. Are there any improvements that are needed, and if so, whose responsibility is that?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. In addition, there is some work required of the landlord. There were some exterior windows which were replaced recently, and we've required them to finish replacing all the windows, which will provide for better daylight and appearance, and also energy savings, of which we are responsible for the utilities. In addition to, on that score too, as far as helping our utility bill, they will continue to replace any of the ceiling illumination with more energy efficient LED. There's some painting and other smaller repairs that were requested by the staff to meet their needs.
Okay, and I see the contract looks like it ran out a month ago.
Yes, I'm sorry to be coming to you with this. This was ready back in June, but with the varying schedules, it just took longer to reach you here today.
Okay, that won't prove an impediment for renewal?
No, the landlord's aware of the schedule and has been very cooperative, and we've had a long-time relationship with him.
I'll open up to my colleagues for questions. Any questions?
I have one.
Mr. Miller?
How does the lease amount compare with what we're currently paying?
Mr. Chairman and Councilman Miller, this is about approximately a 4% increase. The rent had been static since 2017, so given cleaning and other requirements included in this, it's a somewhat appropriate, modest increase given the times we're in.
And does it go up every year, or is it just, it goes up once 4% and it's the same for the next 5 years?
Mr. Chairman and Councilman Miller, yes, it's a static rate for the entire 5 years or 60 months, which is approximately $12 per square foot, which for an inclusive rate is about as good as we can expect.
Agreed. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Seeing none, obviously, if the contract has expired, I would imagine you're looking to move this along.
Yes, I'm sorry to ask, but I would ask the council's indulgence to consider this at the earliest opportunity for full passage.
I'll make a motion to move our 2022-0299 on for second reading suspension. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Okay, Madam Clerk, the next piece of legislation.
Resolution number 2022-0306, awarding a total sum not to exceed $152,662 to the Village of Brooklyn Heights for the Community Services Bus Replacement Project.
Okay, and do we have somebody to speak on behalf of this? Okay, take your time.
Good morning. I'm the Mayor of Brooklyn Heights, Michael S. Prosick, affectionately known as Mayor Mike. I'm always comfortable in these chambers, and thank you for hearing us. As a member of the County Planning Commission, I also serve the county constituents as you do. We have two projects before you this morning. With me is our Community Services Director, Thea Guilfoyle, and a representative from Chagrin Valley Engineering, Devin Edwards, and I will let them present. Thank you for hearing us.
Thank you very much.
Hi, Scott.
How you doing there? Okay, and if you could just state your name for the record.
Thea Guilfoyle, the Village of Brooklyn Heights, and good morning.
Good morning to you.
We are submitting for a replacement for our 2001 24-passenger bus. This vehicle is critical for transporting senior citizens and disabled residents to congregate meals, grocery shopping, village, county, and other local community functions, and senior socialization events. We also transport adolescent population for school-related programs in collaboration with other communities. And also our youngest residents for Safety Town Summer School and our Summer Youth Program. Because of its age, it's become unsafe, it's become undependable. It is 21 years old and has passed the FTA benchmark by 11 years for its life cycle. This has caused us to suspend senior programming and significantly limit its usage overall. Our mechanic has kept it running. Although being deemed undependable, we do not go outside of our immediate area. It has really hurt us because many of our passengers have limited mobility or are non-ambulatory, and their involvement in our community events and any of our socialization programs has greatly diminished. Maintenance itself is becoming an issue, partly due to its age because many of the parts are no longer available. So we are hoping to replace this with a like-size bus. Once ordered, the new bus will take approximately 1 year to be built and delivered, and we would expect to have a life cycle of at least 15 years once it is acquired.
Okay. So this bus is literally going to be put together and built for you guys?
Yes, that is what the manufacturer has told us.
All right. Of course, you know, with seniors and those with disabilities, they're most vulnerable, and we have a duty to, to serve those individuals. And I know the importance of having a bus in a community to help get those people to and from where they need to get to, and with meals and all that stuff. I totally understand that. So I think a very worthwhile use of these ARPA fundings, indeed. Any questions or comments from my colleagues? Seeing none, I'll make a motion to move this on for second reading for R 2022-0306. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and we'll move that on for second reading.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Madam Clerk, if you could, just for the record, read the next piece of legislation into the record.
Resolution number 2022-0307, awarding a total sum not to exceed $97,000 to the Village of Brooklyn Heights for the Spring Road Reconstruction Project.
Okay, and if you could just, again, for the record, state your name. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Devin Edwards. I am with the village engineer. We are asking for funds for the reconstruction of Spring Road from Van Epps to the Northern Corporation line in the Brooklyn Heights. The road has a PCR rating of 55 out of 100. The road services a large majority of the industrial services inside Brooklyn Heights. This will be a complete reconstruct within the right-of-way.
All right. When do you anticipate the start date?
Start date will be next spring.
Okay.
We'll bid it out in the winter.
Sorry, it will be a $1.7 million project. We have county, local, OPWC, and regional sewer district community cost share funds. We are currently under phase 1, which is sewer repairs, and phase 2 will be again next spring.
Okay. So it's a very much involved in the community and a regional project here. So, yeah.
May I ask, what is OP, what was that acronym?
Ohio Public Works Commission.
Thank you.
OPWC.
Okay, there you go.
Thank you.
Okay, appreciate that. And we now know what the PCR thing, the 55 is from the prior thing, so, and we know that's not good. So, with that, I'll make a motion to move this on for second reading. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to move R 2022-0307 on for second reading. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and we'll move that on for second reading. And thank you for being here, and good luck to you on your projects.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Resolution number 2022-0317, declaring that public convenience and welfare requires the rehabilitation of Boston Road Bridge number 07.45 over the east branch of the Rocky River in the city of Broadview Heights.
Speak on this legislation here, and if you could just state your name for the record.
Yes, Dave Ray, Cuyahoga County Engineer. We're asking for a first step approval on to get this project started. This request is coming from our bridge department. What we want to do to the bridge is actually replace the deck on the bridge. And this is one of those bridges where the guardrail is also attached to the bridge, and because of the poor deck condition, they both need to be replaced. And what has happened with this bridge deck is it's kind of gone past the normal maintenance that where our own bridge repair workers would be able to repair it. So it's something that we want to get started on. We're hoping that we can get construction in 2023.
Okay, in 2023. And how long will the construction last?
At this point, we don't know because we haven't really started the preliminary design yet.
Okay, are there any other entities going to be involved in this?
I'm sure we'll involve all the communities. We certainly wouldn't do it, just on our own. We don't know if it'll be closed or if we can do it partial width. But once we get into it, we'll involve them.
Right. Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. The bridge itself is located in Broadview Heights, and it also straddles the border with Richfield, or Hinckley Township, excuse me, so they'll be involved to that standpoint. But he'd be funded by Cuyahoga County since it's our structure.
Okay, got it. Questions or comments? Seeing none, the time frame on this as far as moving this forward, are you looking for suspension on this, or is
We
this?
don't need that.
Okay, we'll just do the three readings. If that's the case, then on R 2022-0317, I'll make a motion for second reading. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second for second reading. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. We'll move that on for second reading. Madam Clerk, if you could, next legislation.
Resolution number 2022-0318, declaring that public convenience and welfare requires the elimination of Chagrin River Road Bridge number 02.40 over Deer Lick Creek in the village of Bentleyville.
Okay, and if you could just state your name for the record.
Dave Ray, Cuyahoga County Engineer. This first step, we're asking for approval to eliminate this bridge. And the reason for that is we have partnered with the Metro Parks, and we want to adjust Chagrin River Road to connect with Miles Road. And what's going to end up happening is we won't have a need for the bridge, but we will also make a safer intersection with this project. So in the long term, because of we won't have the bridge, it's also going to be a cheaper option for us.
So the bridge is going to be completely eliminated. Is it kind of a rerouting? Is that kind of what's going to happen here?
That's correct. It'll reroute the road and improve the intersection and sight distance there, and we won't need the bridge.
Okay, and as far as the timing on this, when we're looking at starting this?
We don't have a time yet at this initial stage.
Okay, but you like next year, roughly, or?
2 to 3 years.
Okay, so you're just getting that. This is an initial stage of this project.
That is correct.
Okay, I see Mr. Sotek's comment. Is this a multi-phase project that's going to happen here?
Good morning again, Mr. Chairman. I want to say right now, we're probably about 2 years out on this right now. We do have a consultant work on it right now, but it's about probably 2 years out, and it's in concert with the Metro Parks. So
Okay.
It's going to involve some ability for Metro Parks to have some trail enhancement out there as well. So,
All right, appreciate that. That was helpful. So, any other questions or comments on this? With that, then I'll make a motion to move R 2022-0318 on for second reading. Do I have a second? Second. We have a motion, a second for second reading. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Madam Clerk, the next piece of legislation.
Resolution number 2022-0319, authorizing the vacation of a certain portion of a county-owned right-of-way within Station Road located in the city of Brecksville in connection with the Cleveland Metropolitan Park improvements.
Okay, and if you could just state your name for the record.
Hi, Council Chair. Jessica French, Cuyahoga County Department of Public Works. So the Public Works is requesting council to authorize the vacation of portion of Station Road in Brecksville and set up the date and viewing for the vacation. This section of Station Road is about 1.73 acres. It's no longer in use and is closed to the public. This is south of 82 off of Riverview Road in between Riverview and the Cuyahoga River. At one time, Station Road spanned the Cuyahoga River. Since then, that bridge has been removed. And this little portion left is just closed, unused land.
Okay. I'm somewhat familiar with this area down over there. My offices are out there, so those are back areas and swampy and all kinds of stuff down there. So if you could just for the members of the committee who might not be aware, could you just explain the process of vacation of the property as spelled out in Ohio Revised Code?
It is quite an extensive process, that's for sure.
In kind of just in lay people's terms here, trying to.
Yep, so there's going to end up being 3 resolutions overall, and this is because of ORC 555.04 and .05. It lays it out very well for us to go by. So we're going to have, we first had the introduction last council meeting. We have this hearing. Then we are going to request second reading suspension for this resolution to be passed. And again, this is just to authorize us to get started and to set up a date because we have to have both a viewing and a hearing for this vacation.
Right, and real briefly, as far as the viewing, I remember doing something like this a couple of years ago.
Yep.
So wasn't there like something where we could Zoom view it or something like that?
So we're going to have the official meeting date because it has to be open to the public. Originally, the resolution did state 10/10. However, building will be closed on 10/10.
Okay.
So we're going to have it on 10/7. It will be also emailed to you in a link for you to view. And it just needs to be viewed before the council meeting on 10/11. Because at that time, the council will acknowledge that there was a viewing, declare that the vacation is sufficient, and then direct us to move forward. That will be first reading suspension, and then there will be one last resolution to approve and accept the plat. And then that will be 10/25, hopefully, with the Public Works Committee hearing 10/2, which would be the official hearing date of the vacation, and then 11/9 for council to approve.
Okay.
Under second reading suspension.
And does anything have to be done with that date that was wrong as far as amending that?
Yes, Mr. Chair, you have a proposed substitute.
So should we amend
The
that
date
now?
is corrected, yes.
Oh, so I
So
should
you
make
need to
a,
vote on the proposed
okay,
substitute.
so I should first make a motion to accept the proposed substitute prior to moving this forward. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to make a motion to accept the proposed substitute to amend the date, to correct the date to 10/11/2022.
10/7 instead of, yep, sorry.
This is, okay, so I'm going to withdraw that motion, and I'm going to make a motion to accept the proposed substitute to amend the calendar date to 10/7/2022 for a viewing. So,
Second.
do I have a second? Okay, we have a motion, a second, to accept the proposed substitute. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. So we will accept the proposed substitute as part of this. And then I do have a further question. So as far as maintenance of this area, who's responsible for that?
Currently, because it is our right-of-way, it's both ours and City of Brecksville's maintenance responsibilities, depending on which.
And are we maintaining it? I mean,
It's close to the public. It is not fit to be,
not
driven
fit for
or walked
consumption.
on, for that
Okay.
matter.
Okay.
And the Metro Parks, they're going to be cleaning this area up. They own property on both sides, as well as National Park property.
Right.
And so they're going to be doing a big project in that area. It'll just be easier for
Right,
them
it's
to
like
clean that up.
down there is a little like Jurassic Park down there in some areas, if you can kind of understand where I'm coming from. Any other questions or comments? Mr. Miller?
Yes. So when we vacate this property, which means we'll no longer own it, who then is going to own it?
Mr. Chair, to Councilman Miller, the City of Brecksville will then own the right-of-way, and then they will be responsible for vacating to the city, or to allow for Cleveland Metro Parks to do their project. They may either vacate it or lease it, depending on what they decide. But it'll be no longer our responsibility as the county.
So it's gonna end up after some further process under the control of the Metropolitan Park District.
That is the plan, yes.
Okay.
Okay,
A lot of process for.
yes,
Not a process.
absolutely. Any additional questions? Oh, okay, seeing none, could I have I'll make up, so we got to move this along, I'm guessing, on suspension based on the timeline here. So I'll make a motion to move R 2022-0319 on second reading suspension. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to move this on second reading suspension. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, if you could, the last piece of legislation.
Resolution number 2022-0320, making awards on requisition number 9296 to various providers in the total amount not to exceed $1,200,000 for construction management and support services, commencing upon the contract signature of all parties for a period of 3 years.
Okay, if we could have someone, okay, here we go. If you state your name for the record. It's been a
Yes.
long day together, huh?
Yes, Dave Ray, Cuyahoga County Engineer. These three contracts basically support our construction engineer and inspection staff internally. So these are 3-year contracts, but most of the money is actually spent in the first 2 years, depending on how we use that support staff, and it's only spent when we use those folks out on projects. So we typically go out for these services every 18 to 24 months, and there were 3 groups that were selected, as you can see probably in front of you: DLZ, Hill, and Quality Control Inspection. And I guess I would ask for a second reading suspension. That is due to the fact that we also supplement our staff in the summer with co-ops, engineering type students, and they're going back to college. So we'd like to move on this as fast as we can to help with our construction program.
Okay. And what specific work will be performed here?
So the work that will be performed is basically inspecting the project and making sure that the contractor is building the project as per the plans and our specifications.
And then in addition to that, are these vendors have specialties in these areas?
Each one of them do. And they know the work that we do, and then we look at their proposals to make sure of that.
Have we used these vendors before? Any of them?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, we have used Hill International before and Quality Control Inspection before. DLZ is new to us this time. We have used DLZ on various engineering type contracts. Generally, all three of these contracts primarily will be construction, inspection. There will be typically from time to time, we do have them move into more of the project management side of things, depending on how busy we are, how many active projects we have. Also as well, we have these consultants help us with claim management from time to time as well. So they're multifaceted as far as what they do for us.
Okay. Any questions or comments from my colleagues? Seeing none, we'll move this on for, you wanted second reading suspension on this?
Yes, please.
Okay, I'll make a motion for second reading suspension, R 2022-0320. All those in favor say aye. Well, I'm sorry, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and move R 2022-0320 on for second reading suspension. Thank you very much, Mr. Ray. Is there any miscellaneous business before the committee this morning?
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Miller.
I just have to make a comment, having been here from the beginning of the new government and attending most of the committee meetings, that I believe this is the largest number of separate pieces of legislation ever handled in a committee meeting. And the number is 23. That's LeBron's number, so that's auspicious. So I'd just like to congratulate the chair on that accomplishment.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And obviously, it's much easier when you have knowledgeable and vested members of the committee. So we appreciate your assistance in moving this along and getting thorough answers when we needed to. So with that, I will make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a second. We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. And committee will adjourn at 11:32 a.m.